After 4 decades on the bench, I believed there was very little left that could surprise me. I had heard every excuse, witnessed every kind of desperation, and seen just about every version of human failure and resilience you can imagine. Or at least, that's what I thought then. On a cold Tuesday morning in February, a man walked into my courtroom and brought everything to a halt. What he said to me, why he was standing there that day, cut straight through the routine and settled deep in my chest. And when I finally made my decision, when I looked him in the eye and told him what I was going to do, I saw something that reminded me exactly why I became a judge in the first place. This isn't just a story about traffic violations. It's about survival. It's about dignity. And it's about what justice is supposed to mean when the person standing before you is fighting just to stay alive. But before I tell you how this unfolded, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment telling me where you're watching from, because what you're about to hear matters. And trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment of it. I've served as a municipal court judge in Providence, Rhode Island for nearly 40 years. Every morning, without fail, I wake up at 5:30. I don't need an alarm anymore, my body just knows. My wife, Joyce, rolls over, half asleep, and murmurs the same words she's been saying to me for almost 5 decades, "Be kind today, Frank." She rarely remembers saying it. But I remember it every single day. I arrive at the courthouse at 8:15 sharp. The parking lot is usually quiet. Christina, my court clerk, is always there before me. She's been by my side for 16 years now and knows my routine better than I do. Strong black coffee, piping hot, hot enough that I have to wait before taking the first sip. She places it on my desk without a word, gives me a small nod, and I know the day is ready to begin. My father came to this country from Italy in 1923. He was 17 years old, had $12 in his pocket, and didn't speak a word of English. He worked construction, saved every cent, and eventually opened a small grocery store. Before school each morning, he'd wake me up while it was still dark, and we'd walk to that store together. He'd rest his hand on my shoulder and say, "Francesco, it doesn't matter where you come from or how much money you have. What matters is your character. What matters is how you treat people when no one's watching." I was 8 years old the first time he said that. I'm 76 now, and I still hear his voice every morning. That particular Tuesday was February 14th, Valentine's Day. I remember because Christina had placed a few heart-shaped candies on my desk as a joke. She does it every year. I was reviewing case files, routine matters, parking tickets, minor violations, the usual municipal court lineup. Still, something felt off. After enough years in this job, you develop a sense for certain days. The air feels heavier. The room feels different. I looked up at Christina. "What do we have today?" "Mostly standard," she said, handing me the files. "But there's one case, 4th on the docket. You might want to take a closer look at that one." The name read, Robert Chen, age 52. Charge, driving with a suspended license. 3rd offense. That's serious. Repeat violations usually mean jail time. Stapled to the file was a handwritten note from the arresting officer. Defendant was cooperative, polite, appeared to be in poor health. I circled those last words. At 9 o'clock sharp, I put on my robe, the same one I've worn for years. The elbows are worn thin. There's a coffee stain from 2009 that never quite came out. But when I put it on, I feel the weight of responsibility. I'm not just Frank anymore. I'm Judge Caprio. AT 905. I entered the courtroom. Everyone stood. Christina returned to the courtroom a few minutes later. She walked up to the bench and leaned in close. Dr. Morrison is on the phone, she whispered. She remembers you. She wants to help. I stood up immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief recess, 15 minutes. Mr. Chen, please sit down and rest. I went back to my chambers and picked up the phone. Dr. Morrison, this is Judge Caprio. Yes, Judge. I'm looking at Mr. Chen's file right now, she said. He's one of our dialysis patients. He's been remarkably consistent, hasn't missed a single treatment in 2 years. I had no idea he was driving illegally just to get here. That's why I called, I said. I dismissed the charges, but dismissal alone doesn't solve the problem. He needs a real, permanent solution. You're absolutely right, she replied. We can help. I'm placing him on priority medical transport effective immediately. He'll have guaranteed rides to and from dialysis starting this week. I'm also assigning a hospital social worker to his case. There are emergency assistance funds available. It won't fix everything, but it will stabilize him. I felt a wave of relief. Thank you, I said quietly. Thank you, Judge, she replied. Most people would have just punished him. After I hung up, I sat there for a moment and stared at the photograph on my desk, my father standing in front of his grocery store, apron on, arm around my shoulder. I was 16 in that picture. He died 2 years later, right there at work. I knew exactly what he would have done. He always helped. He extended credit to families who were struggling. He hired immigrants who barely spoke English. He let hungry neighborhood kids eat fruit from the store without asking questions. He used to tell me, rules matter, Francesco, but people matter more. I walked back into the courtroom. Mr. Chen, please stand. He struggled to his feet, gripping the table for balance. I just spoke with Dr. Morrison at Rhode Island Hospital, I said. Starting this Friday, you will have guaranteed transportation to and from every dialysis appointment. It's been arranged. His knees buckled. He barely caught himself. I don't even know what to say, he whispered. The hospital's social worker will also be reaching out to you, I continued. They'll help with emergency assistance and other resources. Tears streamed down his face. Why are you doing this? He asked. You don't even know me. I looked at him for a long moment. Mr. Chen, I've been doing this job for 40 years. I've seen people who are careless, reckless, and indifferent. You are none of those things. You're a teacher. You're a father. You raised 2 daughters who are clearly good people. You didn't break the law because you don't respect it. You broke it because obeying it meant giving up on life. I promise you, he said through tears, I'll never drive illegally again. I know, I said. You won't have to. The courtroom erupted in applause. I didn't stop it. I let it happen. When the noise finally settled, I said, case dismissed. Mr. Chen, you're free to go. As he turned to leave, he nearly collapsed. A man in the gallery jumped up and helped steady him. Later, I learned that man was a social worker who had come to court for his own ticket. He ended up helping Mr. Chen apply for additional assistance. That's what keeps me doing this job after all these years, moments like that. Moments when the system actually works. I took a short break afterward. I needed it. Later that day, Christina knocked on my door. Your Honor, someone is here to see you.